What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the first late night video in a long time with a double dose of controversy. First, pull rates. Ratio short prints. I won't believe source YouTuber until I go down to Walmart and open 5 blisters myself, and if I pull a single card that he said it was short printed, why it can't be short, and I know he's wrong. Also, disappearing sales from TCGplayer and what's happening there. We've talked a lot about people potentially manipulating the system and trying to sell to themselves or friends to try to boost and then never ship it out. Well, some sales have disappeared that we noticed recently, and I did get an answer on that. Borderload Savage Dragon has leaked out onto Zodiac Duelist and Starlight Rare. It looks amazing. Something about Synchros and Starlight, giving the 10th one to Battles of Legend Crystal Revenge. So these pull ratios are assuming that there is only 10 Starlights and there are not more hidden within the core set or some super special curveball. Gamer's Choice has only these 10 up with access code Talker selling out, and then Boral Savage at $2.50, code What's Good 5 for 5% off, and to support the channel directly will work over there. They have Super Poly priced higher, which I guess 3 of in the main deck versus 1 of in the extra deck, but this has the ultimate rare competing with it. This does have a prismatic secret rare already that people could copium go for on cheaper. Dragon Link player max rarity, you know you need a Starlight of this. Then you have, the Exodia set over here. You've got Yatagarasu and Blackwing Armor Master. I think Armor Master will be kind of the junk Starlight along with Yata. I think actually Armor Master might pass Yata. These past formats are more popular than like 2004 Chaos, but these are definitely a little more desirable. Now, let's go over the disappearing sales first because I think that's pretty darn important. When looking through the sales yesterday, there were 2 sales at $650, and we went over that live on YouTube as well as screenshotting it to just go, wow, what is happening over here with access code Talker? And today, those sales disappeared. They went completely off. And looking through the sales history live right now, they still are not there. So is somebody trying to cause a stampede towards this card? Is there something maybe bad happening? There's not a super clear answer, but I did talk to my TCGplayer rep, and he said, hey, so I'll start by saying this is not a definitive TCGplayer answer, but I can try to give clarity where I can. The sales history graph takes snapshots whenever sales happen, then list them so that others can see the latest interactions on a product. When erroneous, fraud, false sales happen, they typically get flagged immediately and removed. Since the history snapshots are constantly pulling data, they typically refresh and remove anything that is no longer captured. This is pretty valuable advice, but it doesn't mean that these were necessarily just fraud. They could also be refunded. I talked to other sellers, and when there is a refund, then these sales histories also can disappear from the graph. So one of 2 things happen. TCGplayer does investigate and look into fraudulent sales, and I have confirmed this, so it's interesting that they actually have a team watching this and on it. I gotta give it to them. I didn't think they were that dedicated because the sales data would actually kind of help them, but they are on top of it and are trying to catch people who are like not shipping the cards out, doing this consistently during pre-sales, and I wish they would fix their pre-sale system as a whole, but this is pretty darn good news to hear they're on top of it like that. So, seeing this disappear, again, we don't have the clear answer. Was it fraud? Was it mommy's credit card got taken and they had to get a refund, or what happened there? But the sales did disappear, and that is super notable, and you should be watching out for these kinds of things, especially when deciding what's my budget for a card, what should I be going for. And Pro Play Games does have it back up at $650, and it's starting to fall out a little. What people will be paying for, I don't know, but access code Talker looks amazing. So let's go ahead and talk pull rates on these Starlight rares, and the EU is getting the short end of the stick, just kind of like it did with the Mavens ratios overall, but here on the top end with the Starlights. The USA cases are seeing out of, let's say, 10 cases, 9 total Starlights. This is very reminiscent of Rage of Ra, where all the cases would like have a ghost except for 1 out of 10. So you would just get unlucky sometimes with the cases, and a lot of finger pointing might happen because so many of the cases had them, and a lot of people avoided loose boxes for the longest because you could hit the 1 ghost rare in the case and then just stop and sell the rest of the boxes because you got to the ghost, people were shipping them out to get graded, and yeah, there were a lot of factory damages on those ghost rares too. But when it comes down to it, I think the long-term sealed cases, when the tape is perfect and doesn't look like it's been messed with, are better than the individual boxes. While I'm not a financial advisor channel, I don't know the future of products, how they'll go. This feels very similar for the US cases specifically because it's the same kind of pull rate of 9 out of 10 cases are going to have it. So a sealed case most likely will have a Starlight Rare, but it's not a guarantee. Now, over in the EU, it is, if you are opening 15 cases, you're likely to see all 10 Starlights, whereas in the US, you open about 11 just over because that next case would go into the pull rates. It's about 11 cases, though, to see 10 Starlights. Again, that's not going to get you all 10 different ones, but when you're opening mass cases, you start to do the fallout, the ratios, that sort of thing. So let me back up and try to be much more clear because I'm going through numbers fast. You are at 1 Starlight in 1.5 cases, 1.5 cases on average for the EU. It's just a little over, I think, 1.1 cases for the US, because again, you would only have to open just a little over 11 cases on average for the USA to see all 10 Starlights. Again, they can be some of the same Starlights, etc. But we're using the number 10 to try to see how many total Starlights and how often would it take to try to see the ability to pull them all on average. So that is average pull rates, it would seem, from the EU versus USA, with the EU being worse. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Then, when we go through the short print cards, the most odd one is Revived King Hades. People have been waiting for a reprint of this for a while for past formats. It is probably the weirdest short print that is in the shorts, appearing around, I believe it's going to be 3 per case if I'm not mistaken, in the EU and the USA for these several short prints. Access code Talker, that one was kind of obvious. I don't think it's too big of a curveball. A lot of this will be opened up for the Starlights, but the estimated value pulled versus the Starlights and these cards doesn't make too much sense for vendors to be going in, more so for Starlight chasers and crazy people like Ruxin going after that value. Borreload Savage Dragon. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen. They're gonna go for the boss monsters. Toon Blackluster Soldier. I figured this one. This is why I said the Gamer's Choice presale seemed pretty good on it. It was a high price card coming out of Toon Chaos, and if they're looking through the set list, a short one was probably gonna be it. Selene Queen of the Master Magicians, and number F0, Utopic Draco Future. So all of these are the shorts within the product. There are going to be other shorts throughout the set list, but not nearly as bad as these ones were shorted, it would seem. So again, for EU and US, these seem to be around 3 per case pretty consistently, whereas we're looking at the Starlight Rares, USA takes the crown again in terms of the product. At least that's the early look so far. These are from mass case openings, so it's not just like a couple cases, we got these number 4. No, these are many, many cases, and it should be pretty consistent throughout. But of course, individual luck will change. Clumping will be a thing. So if you're opening 5 cases, this amount can, of course, vary. You can get super unlucky, or, you know, you can get super, super lucky and just get insane, crazy cases as well, as we've seen. And then that's quality control, etc. That's why I'm not a financial advisor channel. There's still RNG to this, and you are putting your own risk towards that while trying to figure out the averages. Thanks for watching today's video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these conversations and me trying to hit the ground running on hard-hitting topics. Like this one, I'm actually pretty proud of catching and then going and talking to people about this one. The access code Talker sales disappearing. I think that was definitely a really, really good look up in order to like figure out what's going on, why is this happening, and you know, I get to feel proud once in a while, right? Thanks for watching today's video, everybody.